No, bro. And once again, this is somebody who wants you to know. And look, I don't want you to be confused. I haven't talked to him. I mean, before you start saying, how have you, because the reporter tried to ease into it, how are you and Monty been able, no, I haven't talked to Monty. No, I haven't talked to him. I want you to know that. And then when they asked him, are you happy, Jim, are you happy to be here? I'm all right. What?
I almost expected the Marshawn line. I'm just here so I don't get fined. I was
I'm just
waiting for him. I was waiting for him to break that out. But Michael, what's so fascinating about this to me is, and I think you'll appreciate this from your perspective as a journalist as well. So I teach a sports journalism class at San Diego State. And with the students last night, I brought this up. And what I was interested in is seeing how they, as aspiring journalists, professional journalists, would view that situation and would write about it. And it was interesting to me that some were like mad at Ayton, Deandre, saying, basically he doesn't want to be with the team, this, that, and the other, and he's wrong for doing it like that. And then you had others who saw it as him saying, you know what, none of that stuff matters because my objective is to go out and dominate and to play well. So it was just fascinating because, as I said to them, we in the media we have at times the power to create the narrative. And so if you are, let's say, the beat writer for the Phoenix Suns, and you view that as what he said and the way he handled that press conference as a negative, you have now painted him in a negative light. But if what he actually meant was that I'm going to go out and ball out, that's how I will show Monty Williams, that's completely different from how you were framing this. So as the quote unquote professor, I found it interesting to hear how young journalists would view that situation and how they would handle it. Because for me, what I took from it was he was basically saying, you know what? I realize now this is a business and I'm here to do my job and to do it as best as I can do it. And whatever happens after that happens. That's how I took it.
And I love it. I love your class because they're all right. The ones who say that all things can be true. Like it can be a negative because you got an employee making $33 million a year, mind you, saying, okay, I'm all right. I'm all right being here. And it's fine. So he's not happy. It's clear that he's not happy. And it's clear that it's not about Monty for him. He's playing for his teammates. So you can be, both things can happen. You can be unhappy and play well, or you can let that get in the way. And it depends on how their season goes. Like it could be a positive and a negative depending on how their season goes. They got off to an amazing start last year. They got off to a better start last year than they did when they went to the NBA Finals the year before. Fell apart for them. But if they get off to a start like that again this year, nobody cares. They go 500 in the first 40. Yeah, they go 500 in the first 40 games. It's an issue.
My point more in terms of journalism lesson there for the students was how you frame that initial press conference will go a long way towards how people see Deandre Ayton. And so you can present it as you just said, all these things could be true. You can present the points. But if you take a position, which I think we see more and more now because everyone is in the land of hot takes. And I think sometimes beat writers forget that it is not your job to have a hot take. It is your job to report the news. And so therefore, if in your mind you have a hot take about what all this is about and your story is written from that perspective and your perspective is wrong, you have unfairly tarnished this player in the public's eye, in my opinion. So part of that discussion with them is always leave the opining to the columnists and you as a beat reporter, as the reporter, report the news and provide the context and let people draw their own conclusions.
Yeah, and that's great advice. And I got to tell you, it's hard to find, Professor Trotter, it's hard to find like a true good guy and a bad guy. Like you can't. It doesn't unfold that way when you talk about the Suns versus Deandre Ayton, if you want to frame it like that. Because yeah, Deandre Ayton is upset. He was benched early in Game 7. They got blown out by the Mavericks. And then he's dangling out there as a restricted free agent in the offseason. And it's clear to those of us on the outside looking in saying, the Suns don't want him. He's going to go somewhere else. They'll make him a part of some trade. They bring in Kevin Durant in. Maybe he's a part of the Kevin Durant trade. Something like that. He signs that offer with the Pacers, and they match it.
Right.
Okay, you could have had him. Why go through all of this just to come back and match the contract offer that the Pacers gave him? So it was very confusing. I can understand from him. We're talking about human beings again. It's not Deandre Ayton, center, Phoenix Suns. It's a young man who's in his 20s trying to figure out where he's going to work next, and he's got a lot of money. I'm not feeling sorry for him, but just in terms of planning his future, he's like, okay, they don't want me. I'll go somewhere else. And then all of a sudden they want him back. And so all of that factors into it. I know the Suns are running a business, but he's trying to figure out what it means for him and his personal business. So I can't really find a good guy and a bad guy. You know what I mean?
And it's not always that we should be searching for a good guy and a bad guy. It is the business of professional sports. Sometimes a team will want you, sometimes it won't. The team is going to do what is in its best interest, and a player should do what's in his or her best interest. That's okay. And I know I say this, take the emotion out of it, and that's hard to do because we're talking about human beings.
Right.
But I don't think there's necessarily a good or a bad guy in this situation. I do think Monty Williams should have spoken to him at some point between that Game 7 and
well, hold on.
And now.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
He said he hasn't spoken to Monty, as in it was his choice. I'm sure Monty said, hey, reached out, sent him a text. Hey, we got you back on. 4 years, 133.
Are we sure?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But
all right.
You said Monty should have. Maybe Monty tried.
I did.
Maybe tried. And Noah Monty.
And I may be wrong.
Yeah, Noah Monty, I can see him just reaching out, even if he didn't want to. Just reaching out. Okay, this is what I got to do as a coach. This has gone on long enough. We didn't talk. Okay, if May turns into June, June turns into July. Like, man, who haven't I talked to? DeAndre. Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.